well this Tuesday, the 6th of January. I forget what month it was then. It's a this month is already going quite quickly, and I hope we're all doing extremely well today. Just trying to figure out how bright this looks. Can never quite get the light right, so just give me a second on this one. So hopefully that's better. Fingers crossed that's better. So look, guys, welcome to the channel, the United Devil channel with me, JB. So much stuff has been floating around the last couple of days. Panic stations, all action stations. It is chaos right now. It's absolute chaos. So look, I didn't come on last night. I've not been on today for a couple of reasons. One, because I work a full-time job, and two, because I wasn't going to be involved in all the chaos. I refuse to be involved in picking at the carcass of what is a manager that I think has been thrown under the bus. We'll get on to that as well, and I'll give you my opinion in that. But first thing to say is this: look, get into this amazing community. Brown Knight, legend of the chat. You are on here pretty much on stream today, my friend. First thing to say is, look, be respectful to the community, be respectful to me, otherwise the ban hammer comes out and you will get banned. Be respectful to people. Second of all, is I'm not a dictator of the chat. It's not my rule. I'm the same as you guys, and basically it's an opinion. This is why these shows take so long, is because I do generally read out your opinions, and just get into the chat. So look, it's chaos, absolute chaos. What has happened over the last 2 or 3 days now? We've not really had chance to catch up, and really, I'd love to know what your opinions are on this. Do you think it was right that Amorim got sacked? Do you think he walked out in terms of what he did? Do you think that was right? The things that you've heard, and we'll go through the Ole Gunnar stuff as well at first, and I'm very pragmatic. I try to look at things from a logical perspective. But Fabrizio Romano has been talking about this, and I will quote that as well. I'm getting distracted by the rainbow lightsaber. There you go. Is that stop? Or is that still moving? Stop. Hopefully. Oh, for God's sake. No, I'm not. Oh, for God's sake. Right, let's turn that down. There you go. That's better. It's better. Evening to the handsome devil. Thanks, mate. Tell me old Ollie isn't coming back for round 2. I will come on to that as well. I'm getting distracted by the rainbow lightsaber. Apologies, my friend. Dino is in the house legend. See the reports coming out about the days leading up to the Leeds game. I did, Dino, and we'll go through that as well, because that's pissed me off. That's really annoyed me about the stuff that is now coming out. And one of the things that was said is fucking laughable. Absolutely ridiculous. And look, the media are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, right? They're now throwing him under the bus in terms of the things that were said. But one of the things, that come out, and I think we've got to talk about this because I think it's hilarious, about Wilcox and Barada were on the training ground, and one of the things that was said is I think is absolutely fucking laughable. But look, we will get on to that as well. The Karutsu legend. Am I in a closet? No, I'm not in any sort of closet. JT says, Amorim, do you reckon Fletcher will be caretaker until at the end of the season, or Solskjær? Now, JT, now that is a interesting question. We can talk about that. I genuinely don't have. Look, I can't mention too much because, again, as it was proven on here, I got told something by somebody, it became true, and there's certain things that I'm going to say I'm not going to say. I have first like. Thank you, my friend. Do you think about the sack? What do you think about the sack? I'll how many messages have we got? Okay, let me get Adam. Let me get through the rest of the chats, and we can start there, right? You're looking very sharp. Were you at press conference for United today? No. Brad says, I'd rather Carrick and Fletcher do the job together until the end of the season. Hello, JB. She's Jamie. The board got it wrong by sacking Amorim just because he exposed Jason Wilcox. The Premier League is becoming the NFL, the Glazers, and Ineos out. I take Ollie back. To be honest, so look, let's get back to first of all what I said there. What do I think about the sacking of Amorim? Look, it's one of those things whereby there are two things how I can describe it. Number one, I was the manager in. I was Amorim in because I didn't want us to go through another manager. I'm not going to lie. No, I backed him pretty much until the end. The videos are there at the end, and I backed him because I knew this wasn't his team. I knew he hadn't been given the players that he needed. The players. So I was of that opinion. How can you bring in a specialist guy and not give him his players? I don't think there's anything wrong in his formation. I just think he wasn't backed. I liked him, and then there's a different side. The different side to me towards the end was like this guy needed to go. There are two things to me. There are what I think we should have done, the club that we are, and what should have happened. I'm disgusted at the sacking. I'm absolutely disgusted, particularly if you listen to what Ratcliffe said. I've put that on the channel as well, that Ratcliffe said that he needs 3 years. They're not going to be swayed by the media. They're not going to be swayed by, X, Y, and Z. And they have been. And look, we will come on to what's been said about him as well as to the decisions as to why Amorim was sacked. But look, I think it represents a failure. I am gutted for Amorim. I'm gutted for us. I'm gutted for the club. This was an opportunity for this club to do something different. This wasn't a chance for Ratcliffe to show actually we're not run by the Glazers. We are run by the Glazers. I'm gutted. I am gutted. I've got one here. Dino says there are several things we are slowly being leaked about the days leading into the eventual second. I actually think his time was up, but what the board did was just disrespectful. Amorim got done dirty from what I read. Dino, he did. Who would you want to come into United? Ineos are looking for a puppet, yes man, head coach, not a proper manager. And Brown Knight, mate, this is what they want. Look, Southgate was always on my mind. That's been shot down today. Tuchel is on the list. Glasner, I still think he is the one, and we can come on to that because there are indicators on who they might go for. They don't want a manager. You're right. I don't think they do. They want a yes man. They want a head coach. They want a puppet. As was said there, right? As was said there, they want an NFL head coach. It's exactly what, and this is how you know this club is run by the Glazers. It's because they want an NFL coach. They want everything is indicating they want a franchise. They want a manager, come in, coach, and be a coach. That's it. It doesn't matter to me. Bring in Tuchel. Bring in Big Sam. Bring in whoever you like. Because right now, unless they're going to be given money and be given time, then they're not going to get the job done. Brad says, Sacking was disgusting. How can we keep constantly hitting the reset button? They employed him based off of the 3-4-3, and then they get annoyed when he doesn't feel the need to change. Ollie, what an effing joke. Yeah, and I will come on to that as well, because you know, guys, I don't do clickbait. And I will come on to that. Did you see who scores and but one? I didn't actually. Maresca for me makes sense. Whoever takes over is doomed to fail. Welshie says hi. Hello, Welshie. January 5th, seen the second of Amorim, Celtics, Wilfred, Nancy. Both clubs I support. Couldn't make this up. Sophie says, hey, Fiddy. Thank you. Thank you, Sophie. I want Ollie to become full-time manager. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dino just seems a little bit funny that Maresca gets sacked and then Amorim gets sacked. This is how I feel. So lucky Amorim got sacked. I hope Delo is okay. I'd really like to appoint Unai Emery or Tuchel during the summer, but I doubt the board would take these sorts of characters at the club because they aren't Muppets. I'm going to see Marillion. Oh, at Hammersmith. That should be good. James says Oliver Glasner is my choice. I'm a Glasner. John McQueen says it does not matter who comes in full time. They will be sat within 18 months. And look, I just want, as we go through these chats to begin with, I want us to frame these conversations, because the beauty of these conversations is we can look back in time and we can look at what we said, right? Let's have it here and now on the 6th of January, 2026, right? John McQueen, who I happen to agree with, in 18 months. So from 18 months when we appoint a coach, let's see how quick it will be. And I'm gonna put it down somewhere. 18 months from when we hire a permanent coach, how long they get sacked. Because I think you're right. It's almost like, as much as this club has a reset, right? I feel like the majority of us fans, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying us, and I'm not blaming people. They basically said, we basically have a reset button in our own heads. What happens? The manager gets sacked, reset, and the fans have a reset. It's almost like we're going to go, oh, this time the next guy is going to succeed. He's not going to. Like, we're going to do the same thing again. We bought a manager players, we sacked them. We bought a manager players, we sacked them. Moyes, Van Gaal, Jose, Oli, Ranić, Ten Hag, Rúben. 8 coaches. What is going to be different? What have we done differently? What are we going to do differently for the next coach to succeed? And I'm with John in this one. Nick says it doesn't matter who we bring in, the squad will get fired. JB, they said they would be happy if Carrick and Fletcher went in together and had Brucey as third. I mean, this is and this is why it is utter chaos. And look, I will get into the into that stuff as well. And I look, the media, Dino, ex-players are now in that media group, right? And they're talking like it's like fucking school ground, right? They said, it is mates FC. Look, I like Skulls, but this is not FC fucking dog and duck, right? This is not your local under 18s. Like, you can't come and get in your and I guarantee that under 18s will play better than our pile of shit, right? You cannot bring in your mates. Like, them saying, oh, Scholes, Fletcher, give it to Fletcher. Why? What has Fletcher won? The Carrick thing. What has Carrick done? Like, have these ex-players, have they won leagues? No. Have they won cups? No. Like, why do these ex-players, Scholesy, etc., think that if you bring in their mates because they used to play for the club, why can they do the job? This is United. This is still considered the second biggest club in the world after Real Madrid. Right? We're the biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. But no. Friends! Oh, friends! Oh, Man United ex-friends! Oh, friends! Oh, Scholesy, Nicky Butt friends! Steve Bruce friends! Oh, friends! Carrick friends! Oh, Fled friends! Oh, friends! Friends! Like, what are we? Like, what is this club? To suggest to give it to Fletcher, who's managed the 18s, Carrick, who's done nothing, who got sacked, by the way, and Steve Bruce. I mean, respect Brucey. Come on. No, and this is, and again, the scary thing, I just need to say this as well before I go on to the rest of the chat as well, is this. United, by reports, have been consulting the players. They've been consulting the players, and I don't think that means the ex-players. They've been consulting the current squad on who they would like as a manager. I just want you to let that sink in. They're asking players, so they're asking the likes of, and I'm going to leave Bruno out of this one, and I'm going to leave the Portuguese contingent out of this, because I know that the Portuguese contingent, as much as I've slated them this season on this subject, they're very, very loyal. Imagine asking Luke Shaw, like, who would you want to bring in? Casemiro, like, who would you want to bring in? Like, they're asking players. This club has no fucking idea. You've got ex-players randomly bringing in their mates because they've done a couple of coaching badges, and then now asking players. This is what the state of the club we are at is, because we were talking about who would they sign and what would they do if he got sacked. There's nothing in place. They have no idea. They have zero clue, because they sacked the manager. Amorim was going to go, right? I think they wanted him until the end of the season, and then he was going to go. But they sacked him because how dare Amorim badmouth the owners. What Amorim did, I think, was very, very smart. Brian says, Maresca and Tuchel are the football managers Ineos aren't looking forward to employ. They're looking for a head coach. Sorry, we don't care about what you want. At what point do we start to blame the players other than the coaches? And look, I've been blaming the players all season. Victor, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, I'll blame these players. I blame them, but it's not just all their fault. And now look, when we're now apportioning blame, it's still 20% the players, 80% the rest of it. How many signings are we getting this summer? 100, one signing and a new menu contract. Exactly, Grace. Exactly. We will sign a world-class coach next year. Sacked. We could sign anybody until you give him his players. What can you do? John says, we'll hold you to that. JB, does it Manu go straight back into the team now? Now, if Manu is fit, yeah, he does. If Manu's fit, I am I reckon we go to a 4-4-2. I reckon we go to a variation of a 4-3-3. I think you'll go for 3 midfielders. I think you'll go for defensive football. Fletcher's going to come in, and as far as I'm concerned, look, I want this team to win. Amorim is gone. I'm gutted. We do need to move on, right? I'm gutted. I'm never going to move away from the Glazers, the Ineos, the Wilcox stuff. And look, one of the things for me now that has really pissed me off a lot are the Wilcox side of it, right? They now have gone up in my estimation of how wanky they are, right? Absolute, just disgraceful. But I think if Mainie's fit, he goes back into the side. Maguire. If Maguire, what you've got to get now, this is all about favouritism FC. If you guys thought, if you guys thought that favouritism was there before with the Portuguese contingent, I'm not going to keep on mentioning the names because I know that they support the manager, so you know that's fine. If you thought it was mates rates before, this is going to be mates. This is going to be super mates rates. This is going to be Luke Shaw's going to be prominent in the side. Maguire will be in that side. The Fletcher boys. Now look, I'm not calling them out. If they're good enough to play, that's fine. They're going to play. OB may come back into. Look, this is going to be mates rates FC. The next permanent coach is going to be Ted Lasso at this rate. Graham says one of my Mucka Masters has applied for the job. Graham, legend. We need Qatar, Saudi, UAE, Oman or Bahrain. Jamie says United reminds me of the Dallas Cowboys of the 90 when we got rid of Jimmy Johnson and went through barrage of coaches and we haven't won a title since. Ollie's coming back for sure. I will come on to that as well. John McQueen said it's the board and the owners. The manager is never the problem. Amorim was brought in playing 3-4-3 and then want him to change. John, exactly. How can you bring in a manager who plays 3-4-3, expect him to change, and sack him? I'm glad. Look, I wanted Amorim. What I said was I wanted Amorim to walk. I would respect him if he walked and said, "Look, I'm off." Amorim did something better than that. Amorim did something, and for those people who said that Amorim does not like have a clue, what Amorim did was so smart. By the way, Amorim didn't want to be here, and he engineered a situation whereby he knew he wasn't going to keep his job. He knows the Muppets that are here. He saw firsthand, and if these reports are true, he's seen firsthand what this club is, and Amorim has engineered his way out of this. If you think that Amorim is not sly, is not intelligent, you look at what he's done over the last 3 games. That is a man who is thoughtful. That's a man who has engineered a move out of this club and he's going to get paid to do it. Brilliant. Might as well give Ollie a 5-year contract. The board is rubbish. I agree it is. That was Jim Johnson. Ready, get done. I went Glasner. JB, I honestly thought they were joking. And he's, yeah. Mate, I'm just saying, I really want Glasner. Look, mate, you sound like Goldbridge. Don't know, Grace. Don't know. JB, what you just said is the reason they want him because they were a part of the club. They know they are best mates. This is United. We want nothing but the best. Charlton would be turning in his grave. I see fine Ollie coming in as interim as long as it's made clear to him he won't be getting a full-time contract. Let's get the gang back together. Sorry, I just can't help it. Dino, at least we're going to see the end to the pivot. I'm gutted about that. I'll take anyone just not a shitty manager. Consulting the players as a manager, that's a new kind of level. It really is. I've read a report. They've just even they have even contacted Keane. I mean, well, she says, Xavi. The problem with these managers is that Xavi is outspoken. Xavi's going to look. I'm not opposed to any manager at this point, right? Unless he's given players, there is no point. Nick Caruso says Keane wouldn't last 2 seconds. Then who the squad would walk. Casemiro would be Ancelotti. To be fair, Luke Shaw, he's a suck up, so he would just go with exactly. They asked Luke Shaw what he wanted. He said, I'll have a double cheeseburger. What about Xavi? I think I've answered that. The media will spin it even though we'll hire somebody. I'll take a Glasner, a Xavi or Ole. JB, what's going on about Wilcox? I've just joined. I will come on to that as well. Really happy fans shit themselves. Welshie, that's Paul. Sanji Villa says, who will be the next manager? Emery. Paul, Emery. We're going to come and steal Unai off you, buddy. We're not. Hello, everyone from Wales. Legend. Playback for terrible language. I'm so happy to see United fans suffer, want to complain about managers' defensive football until the end of the season. Football is a results-based business. Simply, Amorim wasn't getting them. Wilcox is ex-Blackburn, enough said. Mate, this club is embarrassed. Dorgu. I don't mind Dorgu. Yeah, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I don't think for 1 minute Unai Emery will go. I don't think he will either, mate. As long as we win, I don't care who plays, as long as it's not the Fletcher twins. Tulip Play says, hi, hello, legend of the chat. Job was far too big for. And look, football, I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree that the job was too big for him, but what I don't like now is all the lies and the spin. There is a way to do it. There is a way to do it, and it's not right the way that we did it. I'm hearing City are considering Amorim when they're going to back him fully. Pep wants to quit football. What's your top 3 managerial targets? Who would be my? Okay, if I had to pick. Who would I pick? I would go with the most logical and obvious choice. I would go with an Emery first. I would, and the reason why I would go for him is because I think he's proved it. I think that he's a Premier League proven coach. I'm sick and tired of trying to experiment. I think I'd like somebody who is stable. Look, who clearly took Aston Villa with a average side, turned them round, got them into the Champions League. People thought with Emery that was going to be the end of it. Atrocious start to the season. Look at them now. So Emery for me. Emery, I know he's not the most glamorous of names that people want as Zidane, as Xavi. I think they would be the wrong choice. I would go for an Emery. And then if I was to pick somebody else, I would go for the PSG coach. I can't think of his bloody name now. Someone help me. What's his name? The PSG coach. Seriously. My brain. Honestly. My brain at times. Enrique. For fuck's sake. I'd go for Emery, Enrique, and then after that, I'd probably, if I was gonna get a manager who was gonna be another outlet manager, I would go and get a Gelsman. I think I'd want Emery first, then I'd go for Enrique, because I think what Enrique did at a PSG who lost Mbappe, who's had to rebuild a squad, and don't forget as well, PSG, not in terms of the money and size, are necessarily one of the biggest clubs in the world, but from a visual perspective now, because of everything that's attached to them, so I think that he can handle it. Those would be my three. Phoenix Caliber says Glasner makes no sense. We won't be playing that system. JB, would you consider a roller Bournemouth manager? The thing is, Dino, right? What I want at the moment, what I've considered him, I think this is a question, what or more of a comment, is that I would have considered him before the Amorim thing, right? I now want stability. I now want a manager who is going to come in and be able to work with this squad, because look, people are thinking that we're going to get a rebuild, right? When people think about a coach now, what we're going to do, what we've been programmed to do, is they'll bring in a coach, and everybody will now say this: oh, we're going to sell 10 players, this coach, they'll have their players. No, they won't. What you need to bear in mind, let's not go in and go and reach for the stars. Because how can you reach for the stars when you can't walk off a pavement, right? United are going to let you believe that, well, we're going to go get these managers and they're going to get their players and they're going to get their team. No. When you think about the manager that you want, you've got to think about what you can afford. It's like if somebody asked me now, if you could pick a car, right, for your next car. So let's just say my car outside breaks down, and someone says to me, what car are you going to get? And then I say, well, I could get any car in the world. I could get a Porsche Carrera. I could go and get a Skyline. I can go and get some expensive car, right? But realistically, I can't go and afford that car. So when we're thinking about the managers, we have to think about what are the finances. This manager is going to have to work with these players, right? So there is no point going to get a manager who you think in your head is suddenly going to get all this money. He's not going to. So I need somebody who's going to come in with experience, who's going to be able to coach and manage these limited players. And I think Emery, for me, is that guy. I think he's going to be able to come in. I think he's going to be able to get some sort of tune out of this squad, and he's going to be perfect, because Aston Villa had to sell players to balance the books, and even though they had to sell players, Amorim still did a good job there. So for me, Emery. See, I've got Amorim on the brain. Emery for me at Aston Villa. If you look at what Emery did, bearing in mind Villa had to sell players to balance the books. What Emery did there and is doing this season, Emery for me all day long. New manager might pivot away from Shaw. Ryan says, I don't mind Ole for the rest of the season as long as it is temporary thing. I don't want to make the same mistake again. Austin says, no matter who comes in, it's going to take effing years. I do agree. Ineos have lost control of the club. They have. Mark Harris, Legend of Chat, said, it's like moving back in with your ex-wife. Move on. This club is munted. Steve Harrington says, what's the latest? And look, I will go through that as well. I will go through this. Ryan says, Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Conte. Actually, Emery instead of Conte. I don't want a sentimental Ole or Fletcher long term. Top 5 this season: City, Arsenal, Villa, Liverpool. Unai is on contract until 2029. It's unlikely. Yep, agreed. JB wants to hear Emery said good evening. With all the resets we've had, could we just not compile the results, formulate a plan? I've been in since Fergie left. On squad cost and spending, Emery's unbelievable. Yeah, he is. Ole till the end of the season, then Tuchel would be my choice. Enrique, Monsieur, Luis Enrique. How many people googled that? Yeah, me. Giggsy Enrique, he won't come either. No, and he won't. I mean, the managers that I want, they won't come in because I know that they won't do. But though the guys that I want are the guys that other clubs do not want to let go. A smart manager would not touch United unless they give it a healthy budget in the transfer window. I'd like to sign Mbappe and Pedri in the January window, but it's not happening exactly. I'd take Maresca or Glasner if it's right now. If we do the interim, then hire in the summer, Tuchel or Nagelsmann. Ron Atkinson's still alive. Peter says, the Glazers have sunk the club again, and not one channel is calling them out or holding them accountable, but somehow Amorim has had accountability. Is that right? Peter, I've been calling them out on this channel, my friend. We've literally been calling them out on this channel for months. I've done video after video after video on this channel, even when he got sacked, even before that, even the Leeds game. We've been on here and we have called them out time and time and time again. The players have to take their responsibility. Amorim has to take his own, but the accountability without a shadow of a doubt goes by these fucking Glazers who I've called out multiple times, and Ineos. This is not on the manager, right? These players didn't ask for the contract. Look, I still can't stand the players, by the way. I can't stand the players. Amorim towards the end was gone, but there's a reason this club is like the way, and it is a disease. It is an absolute disease that's caused by it's caused by the Glazers, and then when you get a chance to cure it, Sir Jim came in and battered the cure away and said, no, you don't need a cure. Take this pill. It's basically like a fucking vitamin, right? You don't need all that stuff, and Sir Jim has made it worse. So the Glazers have sunk this club again, and the Glazers have the people. The Glazers are so smart. Don't ever think these Glazers are idiots, because they're not. What they've done to this club, and they're now people no longer talk about the Glazers. People blame Amorim, the players, Wilcox, Ineos. They've got layers. They've got layers on layers on layers. Why do you think it's come out that all this stuff about Amorim being this and Amorim being that? Because now the Wilcox and Omar Barada have learnt from the best. Sir Jim has got his shield in place, and now Wilcox and those guys have now put. It's all about saving your own skin. The only person that's got nowhere else to hide or run and hide and has to front up every single week is Rúben Amorim. He was the only person that had to. The players have an excuse. And then behind them you've got Omar Barada or Wilcox, and then behind them you've got people, and then beyond them you've got Sir Jim. Like, it's awful. Emery has an Arsenal fan being a tit. I put the hammer down. Exactly. Emery still has 4 or 5 years on his contract. Enrique just won the treble. Exactly. Don't want Ole on the bright side. Ole isn't as bad as Neville. Yonder says, hi, hello Yonder. My prediction, the club will be sold within 3 years. We are too big. They can't handle us, Glazers or Ineos. We are doomed year in and year out. I can't see the progress. Don't disagree. Good evening. Good evening to you, my friend. JB for interim manager. Ranić said it best. This club needs open heart surgery. Scott, I agree. Scott is in the house. Legend of the chat. JB, do a poll for the next manager. Okay. You ask, and I shall provide. You asked. Bloody hell. You asked, and I will provide. Okay. Next manager. Okay, let's do Tuchel. I've got my list here. Here we go. Got my list of people here. Okay, so we've got Serbi, add option. Who else have we got? Maresca. Okay. Let's put other. Didn't I say bloody hell Fletcher? Okay. Xavi. Oh yeah. Xavi. I'm liking Xavi, my friend. I can only put 4 in. So we'll just do that for now. I'm only allowed 4. Okay. So can't really do much more of that. Anyway, but look, we will get on to the Ole Gunnar stuff as well. Let's go through that. Sounds like politics throw everyone under the bus and say their arse. We needed to stick with a manager and not rinse and repeat, but Rúben needed to meet us halfway and win half the games. Interesting opinion there. Peter says Sir Jim is a lifelong fan. The Glazers are anti-football. Glazers care about American football. Why do people think Ineos and the Glazers are together? I guarantee you the opposite. Peter, mate, look, I read opinions out on here. I don't care if you're Ineos in and that sort of stuff. I'm telling you, Ineos, Sir Jim is not a lifelong fan, Peter. Mate, he just isn't. I respect the fact that it's your opinion. You're just wrong. There are some opinions on here that are wrong, right? After the last couple of days, there is absolutely no way Sir Jim is a fan in this club. 0 way. Look, and if that's what you think, then that's fine. But this is why the Glazers hired Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because he is the perfect guy as a shield. Because there will be many people today not using Sir Jim as this guy. Sir Jim has sacked multiple people. Sir Jim has presided over a mess. How is Sir Jim a lifelong fan? What is Sir Jim doing to this club that means that he's improving this club? Anything he's ever done in this club is all about money. It's all about profit. Wonder who the unlucky contenders are. Hello from Turkey. Out of them, I would take Xavi. Get your votes in. JB can't spell Xavi. Yeah. So look, let's get on to it. Let's get on to what's been said. So Fabrizio Romano, and look, we can't. I first saw this. And I heard Ole at the wheel, right? And I was like, no, this is just the normal spin crap, right? When Fabrizio Romano comes out and talks, even I have to listen, right? Clockender says, Rúben Amorim, bring back the glory days again. Yep. Fabrizio Romano has basically said this. United are aware of Ole's interest, of Ole returning on a 6-month contract to help the club out in June. Now look, I'm not going to run away with it. There are many reports now. There are many reports out there now for it not to have some legs. That Ole has basically gone to the club and said, if you want me, I will come back pretty much for free. The question is now, are United going to bite on this? Are United going to bite on Ole coming back for 6 months? Now, I would love to know what is true. But there can be absolutely no doubt here, and I would be the first to call this out, that there is real possibility and there is a real call for Ole to come back as temporary manager. My comment on that really is, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about having Ole back for 6 months? Do you think Ole would be able to get a tune out of the squad? Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjær would be able to take this team into the Champions League? I would love to know your thoughts. Well, I think the biggest thing for me on it would be, what a disaster! What a typical what a. I'm not opposed to Ole coming back, and I get the reason why people want Ole to come back, because they basically remember the good days, right? I want to factor this in mind. We don't have the same squad. I don't think we have as good a squad, right? What sort of football club, and this is just my view, this is not me calling your opinions out, this is just my own thought and my view. What a diabolical, disastrous mess we have presided over, whereby Amorim was going to be this next big young coach who was going to come in and revolutionise this club. And now, not even 18 months after, we're seriously considering potentially going with Ole for 6 months. I mean, look, take away, it's Ole. Have we all been brainwashed? Have we all been slapped around the head? And I genuinely cannot believe that we are considering bringing him back. I'm not calling you guys out. I get the opinion. What is this club? What have we become? Whereby we're seriously sat here debating. Some of you, and look, I'm not disrespecting that view. Just think about this. We're supposed to be this progressive new club where these owners are supposedly this new way. They are gonna build a brand spanking new stadium. They want the best of the best, and they've said they want the best of the best. Even as an interim coach, we're gonna go back to Ole. I mean, it's just, and people are actually happy about that. Like, it just make sense to me. Like, I'm not calling out the view. but make it make sense to me why people would want Ole anywhere near this side. We've got a worse side. Look, how mad would this be, right? So we've gone and got in this new young coach that everybody wants. Apparently, we have brought him into the side. 18 months to 3 years. He's going to get his team. He's going to get his players. He fails. He comes back. So Ole comes back into the side, and Harry Maguire, the player that he signed all them years ago, is still here. It's just that is the level where we're at. It just epitomises what we are as a club. Doesn't matter what we think about. This is not a dig at him, but Harry Maguire shouldn't be here. Like, Luke Shaw shouldn't be here. Like, Ole is going to walk back to Luke Shaw to Maguire. Like, if that is just not a signpost, the epitome of how bad the Glazers, Ineos, and how shit this club is, I don't know. That would be a marker. That is synonymous for a failure. And can you imagine the banter that we'd get if Ole comes back into this side as a caretaker manager? It baffles me. It baffles me, people. I can't believe that Martin O'Neill was never considered in the past. I think Ole would get the players on the side and bring a feel-good factor on a short-term basis. I think it's a calamity. Ole going to get a tune out of 33-year-old Casemiro, Shaw and Maguire. Nobody is. And I think that's a fantastic point. He's not going to. Harry says, hello, Scott the Pivot is dead. Let's be fair, JB. Every manager is always hyped. You don't downsell the person as a manager. That is true. This is what happens when you speak out about the owners. We came that way 5 years ago. Didn't we finish second under Ole? We did, but it wasn't like it was a close second. It was the COVID season. And look, we finished second under Ole. You can take that, use that as a measure, use that as a yardstick. Just because you finished second under Ole, however many years ago it now was, doesn't make him a good coach. Not only are we going back to former players, we're going back to former managers. We are living in the past with Ole at the wheel. Ole for the rest of the season until the right man is available. Ole got a second, third with the worst. I don't think it was a worse team. I think this is a worse team. I think the reason why this is a worse team is because I think we've got on paper. Even though the players were egotistical wankers, I think we had more of a squad than now. I actually think we've got worse players. Bingo, how can you win 5 games when you have players like Maguire who can't win back-to-back games over 7 years? We spent like 80 million on Maguire and he's handing out the strips and putting up the team sheet. We've always got banter, hated, adored, never ignored. Doesn't mean he's a good coach, but it means he must have been better than the shit we've had since. Honestly, I'm not bothered who we bring in as an interim. I'm bothered who we bring in the summer. Board have lots of time to get the person right. Ole was sacked too early. The fans and club treated him disrespectfully. Players then, but too many wrongs. No, I agree. Look, this is a fascinating conversation. Come on. The team is demoralised. It's in a shit state. It was that when he came last, got out of the club, enjoy itself again. Let him do it for the rest. And look, Harry, I am not opposed to giving it to any manager. Bring him back. bring him back. Look, I'm not saying don't. All I'm saying is, from a visual perspective, we are supposed to be. I can't really say the word. We are supposed to be progressing, right? Ineos is about. Dino legend. This is supposed to be about. Okay, end poll. So, the results of the poll are Xavi first, 45%, Tuchel 20%, De Zerbi same, and Maresca 15%. Okay. There you go. Another poll going up there. Ole back for 6 months. Ole back for 6 months. What do we all think about Ole being back for 6 months? Let's have a little look. But look, yeah, look. Harry, mate, I'm not going. I don't disagree, right? The only thing that bothers me about it is we're supposed to be this progressive new club. Ineos have come in and they want the best in class, right? I get it, but to me, it's a representation of we take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back, and we're going to look. All I'm going to say with Ole is be careful what you wish for. Be careful. Be careful. Harry, he could come in and he could have this rousing impact, and he could put a smile on people's faces, and they could become a team again. Fantastic. But also don't forget how quickly it can turn sour. That's all I'm saying. Ryan says, Jose finished second with the most points we have had in a single season since Fergie. It was 81. Fletcher Presser live chat was constant, and I will look at the presser as well. Did Ineos buy Maguire or Ole? Why is Maguire still here? The Glazers run the club, not Ineos. You're wrong, Peter. And again, look, Peter, we can agree to disagree. I respect that opinion. This is my problem with Ineos. Is this Ineos? We had a chance to sell the club, right? They had to sell the club. Radcliffe was brought in here to prop the Glazers up, to give them what they needed. Sir Jim is a guy who's been brought into the club as a figurehead to get the stadium. He's invested £1.3 billion ish. That's going to be worth 6 or 7 in the next 10 years. Sir Jim is not here for the love of the club. If he was, Peter, he would have bought it. He can buy out the Glazers. I've done a video that tells you why Sir Jim cannot buy the club, right? I respect the opinion, my friend. Look, I'm not a person who has my opinion, and I do have a strong opinion on the Glazers, and I do have a strong opinion on Ineos. I do, and I'm never going to go back in it. But I also respect that there are people who are somewhere in between that. Sir Jim is not here to buy the club. Sir Jim is not here to buy the club. He's here to make money from the club. He's here to make money. He's only interested in, look, you can argue that he spent £300 million, right, on some of the things that he's done in the club. All that is basically make sure that your asset is up to scratch. Sir Jim has got no Sir Jim has got no. Oh, where's that closed? Don't know, mate. Don't know, buddy. Look, you guys can have your views, and again, this is your place, and I will read your views out. And if I do comment on them, doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't mean that I'm calling out your comment. If you look at it, if you go back and you look at it, and you look at the figures, you look at the people involved. He's not here. But look, guys, you're entitled to your view on that. John Dixon says hi. Dino says it's all about the money. Harry says, to be fair, I think he tried, but they refused and brought it down to 25, and then he owned that 3%. That was basically pointless before, I think. So basically, Romano, Ole coming back, and all that good stuff. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I've got a bunch of stuff here, is basically this, is that, let me just find out the right stuff. No, that's on another page. Got my little page of stuff. Okay, so yesterday, apparently it came out that Barada and Wilcox were at the training ground, and they met players and they met with the coaching staff, where basically it was said, and they insisted with the players, that Amorim was given what he wanted to give them, what he asked for. They basically said Amorim made his feelings quite clear. They don't understand where all this has come from. Wilcox basically said that Amorim basically changed. Amorim decided to change that the way he decided to act. So what was said yesterday, and these reports that have come out, Wilcox and Omar Barada were at the training ground yesterday, where he met with players. They met with players and making their feelings clear. They insisted with the players that Amorim got given what he asked for. Amorim made his feelings very, very clear. They don't understand where this came from. The 48 hours apparently caught them by surprise. Wilcox said that Amorim's changed and they had to act. What a pile of bollocks. What a pile of scapegoating, throwing your manager under the bus. So not only are you throwing your manager under the bus, you're now throwing your manager under the bus to both the media and those players. Let me have a little look. Wonderful Horseshoe says, Toon fan, was it 50-50 for Amorim out by the supporters? I think it was more like 70-30. Harry says, come on, is good as long as and look, Harry, I will be the first person if Ole if Ole can win a league. Look, I love Ole Gunnar Solskjær, right? I remember when we signed him. I watched the final. I remember when he scored 4 against Nottingham Forest. I remember when Ole first came to the club. I would love nothing more than for Ole to win the league. Let's see. Look, I can probably deal with the next 6 months of a Fletcher and an Ole because they're ex-players. And look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I don't want them, but if Ole can win, I don't want him to win to a point where they give him the job again. I'd be happy. So I'm not going to say that. So yesterday, apparently, so again, I'll go through this. Wilcox and Omar met the players to insist that Amorim was given what he asked for. Amorim made his feelings clear. They don't understand what happened in the last 48 hours. Wilcox said Amorim changed and they had to act. What a pile of shit. I can't stand. I can't stand this football inside. I mean, they are disgusting. presided over an absolute massive pile of shit. Disgraceful. Throwing a coach under a bus again. Absolute disgrace. Disgrace. What are we saying? Leicester won the league, and look at their progression. Ole would give you the same trajectory. I don't know. Look, Leicester is a once every 20, 30 years. You know, I don't want him back as the manager, but I think his attitude about making people happy and play for United is what the club. And Harry, I think that's probably a very valid point, because I think we need something. Michael says, I was behind Amorim and reluctantly accept that we are 5th, 6th place team, but dropping points the way that they have is no good. The team is too light. Look at the bench against Leeds. Another manager was just going to say this reason happened. Big up JB, big up to Danny. The board was really crap at line, exactly. We can't look at Ollie with the rose tinted glasses. It has to be the same. Bring back the glory days. List just behind whatever happens. So look, I'm going to go, guys. I will be back this evening. Fantastic show. Exactly. So look, I will be back tonight. I'll come back tonight, and we can have an evening show. We can come back and we can talk about all this stuff again. But yeah, guys, I will be back this evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's just been nice. It's just been nice to come back as normal. There was something that was off screen there, and I just had to look over there because I had a child walk round that way. So I sort of had to look and be like, I was being told something, so I sort of needed to. So look, guys, I will be back this evening. The family stuff happens, and then I've got to. No, I know, it's all cool. But look, guys, I will be back this evening, probably around 10 o'clock tonight, and we will talk about stuff. So there'll be stuff that will come out. Dino, JB is maybe. I'm always on the bloody naughty step. So look, guys, I will see you in a bit. Be around 10 o'clock tonight. If you can join that'd be fantastic. If not, I will see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, afternoon. I will be back tonight. Take care, guys. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and I'll see you tonight. Take care.